Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time to dive into the Ultimate Base 4.0 series of Oxygen Not Included Spaced Out DLC. Usually I'm starting on the default planetoid in order to accommodate new players as well, but I figured there is something way more interesting for the Spaced Out DLC, and that is the Moonlet Cluster. I'm still going to choose the planetoid that is going to make it somewhat beginner friendly, so I at least can explain the concepts of the game, and everyone who wants to with the Spaced Out DLC can play along. Now, Moonlit Cluster, what does that exactly entail? Namely, 5 planetoids that share all the game resources, and you cannot find all the resource on one single planetoid. So you will be forced to build a rocket program and ship materials between those planetoids in order to take advantage of being able to survive in the game. As for the game settings, I'm gonna leave hunger to the default setting for reasons I'm gonna explain in just a moment. The durability I actually lowered to be easier because I just find this an annoying feature, but I don't want to completely eradicate it. However, what I bumped up all the way to the hardest setting is radiation and disease, because usually even if you play on the normal settings, those two things aren't really a problem, and I want them to be a problem in this playthrough. Everything else is set to the default. We have the teleporters, the care packages, and we also have all of the story traits. As my starting duplicant, I rolled Nisbet as a digger with the super duper hard digging skill already present. We have Amari as our rancher that will be taking care of all the critters, and finally we have Chin acting as our researcher in the Ultimate Base 4.0. Alright then, let's assess our situation. We are starting on the metallic swampy asteroid, which should guarantee us a whole bunch of metallic volcanoes such as aluminium, gold and cobalt. On the planetoid itself, we'll find some swampy and marsh biome, maybe a magma biome at the bottom and some metallic biomes. What we won't find on this planetoid are the sandstone biomes for sand and sandstone, the forest biomes for pips. We won't find any ocean biomes for excess of water, no wasteland for sweetles or grubs, no rust, no tundra for wheezeworts, there's no barren biome, no jungle for dracos, no oily biome for oil, and no radioactive biome for the uranium. All of these materials, if we want them, we need to grab them from the surrounding nearby planetoids, the Moonlet Cluster. Having a quick look around, we can find some dust caps, also thimbleweed for the atmosuits. There are some pluxlux maybe for ranching and also extra power. We also have the occasional one-time food sources and of course then the starting crop, the bog buckets. The first thing here I would like to accomplish with my duplicants is just setting up a starting infrastructure to be able to poop, eat and breathe. Maybe not in that order. Having a look around, I might want to be careful with the polluted water, just collect it somewhere at the bottom. In the beginning we'll be breathing in a lot of polluted oxygen, which will give my duplicants yucky lungs, and it's also just a little bit disgusting. For my starting water, I'm just going to utilize a pitcher pump and this initial pool. Let's maybe put the pump right there. It can reach down up to 4 tiles and the initial water should be enough to get us going. I'm also gonna make my way over here, being careful not to dig up the slime just yet, and then if we do this right, all of this polluted water should land down below together with the other one. With our first access to cobalt, we can already start setting up the first rooms. Now let me think, I might want my bathrooms over here, honestly. Yeah, I definitely would prefer my bathrooms and bedrooms, maybe even the great halls being on the right side, and then where we have the ladder shaft is going to be everything else. Let's think about this. I want the center room to be 16 wide and then still have the space for 2 doors, so 18. Then I want a ladder shaft and then I would like to start with the rooms. So there would be the door and here would be the ladder shaft. This ladder shaft here will only be inside the base and this one here will lead through the entirety of the planetoid. Next up, I would like to set up my first cots. Here my duplicants will sleep. Now here I will have to break through all of this, avoiding the polluted water if possible. I want to make the bedroom about 3 sizes in height, so I still have the space for some decorations. And then on the very top right here, we'll have our bathrooms. Starting with a wash basin right here, we would have the space for another 3 wash basins. And then of course we would be getting started with some outhouses. So this room needs to be a little bit longer. That is exactly 16 in size. And if we make this room 4 tiles high, it has the maximum size of 64 tiles. So there would be the ceiling of this room. To avoid the polluted water from being a problem, I'm just gonna make my way in from the top down and then make a little cavity for it to drop down before we complete the room. And just like that, we can get things started. Maybe another thing I want to do right off the bat is enable all plants to be harvested so we get that extra food when it's ready. Inside the ration box, I want to store everything edible. Let's just keep it at priority 5 for now. We need to focus on building everything. I would say, Amari, you can also go ahead and help out over here. This part is more important. Wait a second, if we keep on digging here, I have a huge problem. I don't want to mix the polluted water just yet, so maybe let's add a tile right here first, and then we should be able to add another one here, which makes it safe to dig through. Definitely not my most efficient cycle. If I wanted to be efficient, I should have put the bathroom and bedroom on the other side, but you know, I have an idea on how I want things to look. But now we can safely dig through without this falling down. Now that we're getting closer to the end of the first cycle, I want to have a quick look at the schedule. I want to make them work through until the night shift and then give them a little bit of downtime. I don't think we're going to be in time to set up the bathroom, so I'm just going to set up an emergency toilet somewhere. Let's do it right here. They can use this one for the first cycle. Wow, my first duplicant already has hypothermia. This is incredible. Yeah, it's because she's standing in polluted water. Oh my god. This is gonna be a catastrophe with the diseases. Let's actually learn more about the diseases. Check this out. -5 science, machinery, construction, cuisine, and +1 sneeziness. All of these diseases are extremely devastating. Since we only have one functional toilet, I think I also already want to add 3 schedules. Also, Amari, with the night owl bonuses, we need to make sure he actually works during nighttime. So what I'm gonna do is swap all of this to work time, and then we're gonna shift the schedules. The next sleep time would be starting here, and then 2 downtime slots just for the beginning. I will be bumping that up very soon. Right here we want Sheen, and then we want Nisbet. However, we just keep on digging here and then further making our way down. And then I would say right here at the bottom, we're gonna make this cavity for the polluted water to go down, and then we can properly finish this build. Wait a second. This is not right. Nisbet should be here and Amari should be there. Yeah, that makes more sense. So it is now Nisbet's downtime. She is going to sleep first, which is good. Afterwards, she's going to poop and then she's going to eat. Now, there could be a slight issue with food poisoning. So maybe, just maybe if we set up a temporary wash basin here as well, we can get away with it. We now have Amari filling up the wash basin. Very nice. Okay, so now we're just gonna wash our hands whenever we go through here, and it is actually necessary. There she goes now to the pooper. Yes, indeed. Accumulating a whole bunch of food poisoning germs. However, we have no food here. We only have it in the ration box, and therefore she needs to wash her hands before eating. Perfect. Also, Amari is now going for his break. Is that right? Why are you doing that? Amari, what are you doing? I know, of course, that makes sense. It's the first cycle and they all need to poop after a cycle. Okay, not too shabby. We're not gonna have a mess. The duplicants are not gonna poop all over the place, and we can take our sweet time to set up the real bathroom. Now that we're actually getting somewhere, I want to tell you about the plans for this playthrough. I basically want to establish a workforce of about 20 or so duplicants that will be taking care of the entirety of the colony. In the end, maybe it's going to be more than 20 duplicants, but my main goal for this series is to establish a hotel on a specific planetoid, evaluate which planetoid will be the best for this, and the hotel is basically going to accommodate approximately 50 duplicants that are just idling around, enjoying life, having access to all the amenities and just the best food. So establishing this hotel that will be supplied from the main planetoid is the main goal of this series. This is also, by the way, why I decided against an increased hunger setting. Now, as an optional side project in this playthrough, I also would like to establish a zoo with all the animals that are currently in the game. I'm also playing on the development build, so the update that is coming to the game very soon should already be included in this. Yeah, so not only do we need to establish infrastructure for all the late game materials, but there is also a purpose to it, namely we are supplying the hotel, a 5-star hotel with the best of the best. So I really hope you like this idea and you're in for this long-term series. To avoid unnecessary dupe labor, I disabled disinfect for the outhouse here. I don't want them to go all over the place in order to do that and waste a bunch of precious time. Also, we can use the priority setting in order to increase that priority. This is really important that we can get rid of the polluted water and finish the bathroom. Before I lose track of time, I should set up a research station. I'm gonna do that right here. together with a battery. Let's see. Power. We need batteries. Let's put that maybe for now on the other side. Yeah, I'm just gonna put that battery here together with a manual generator, and we're gonna go ahead, connect this with a wire like so. The dupes will be able to charge the battery, and then we can use the station to do some research. Very nice. This is already enough room to be able to finish the outhouse, so I want to make sure to set up the rest of the wash basins and outhouses. This also means we can go ahead and set up the bedroom for some more comforting sleep. Wow, check this out. Niespan is already taking advantage of it. How wonderful. No sore back. The wash basins and outhouses I generally want to have at a priority of 7, so they will always be taken care of, even if I don't have a duplicant dedicated to this task. In terms of achievements, I will be trying to get most of the achievements, but it's not going to be a focus on this series. I rather make a dedicated series to trying to get all the achievements. Right now, all we managed to do was get a bed for each duplicant. I'm gonna go ahead and speed up the outhouses here so we can deconstruct the emergency one. Also, I want to mop things up wherever my duplicants are walking, as this time around my dupes get sick just looking funny at each other. Oh, there it is. My outhouse is in place. In this case, we can deconstruct the other ones. I also would like to make my way further down here, and I'm just going to use a ladderless technique in order to do so. Go a little bit further down here and there. And maybe we can dig over here in order to gain access to the dust caps and the thimble reed. Yeah, maybe gaining access to everything over here could also be important. But now that we're actually starting our research, I would like to sort out my priorities. Within the priorities, we can decide which duplicants are dedicated to which tasks. Obviously, the better a dupe is at a certain task, this color is going to be darker. So we definitely want Niesbet as our digger and builder just because they go hand in hand. And I'm going to bump this up all the way to the maximum. Also, whenever I want to kill off critters, I think Niesbet should be taking care of that. And I'm actually going to disallow that for everyone else. Doing it on the top here is going to prevent every new duplicant from taking on these tasks. For instance, I want no one to cook until we actually have a cook. Same thing goes for decorating, same thing goes for researching and farming probably. Ranching would be specific, doctoring would be specific, rocketry also, and that is approximately it. Of course, right now we don't have enough duplicants to take care of all the tasks, so I have to change a few things around. But to finish the main tasks, Jean obviously is going to be responsible to do the research, so that needs to go all the way up. Amari is our rancher, so that also needs to go up. We cannot really do any ranching right off the bat, but we can do some farming. So I think I'm gonna dedicate Amari to farming as well, with a lower priority than ranching. Amari and Jean, I don't really want to build if there is anything else to do. So we're gonna set this to the lowest priority, but not disallow. As for Niesbet, our digger and builder, I don't want her to do supplying and storing that often, except there's nothing else to do. So I'm gonna lower that to the lowest priority as well. Same thing with tidying here, lower priority. Now, one thing I like to do is actually enable toggling for all. So all new duplicants should be coming with a very high priority in toggling, and in conjunction with the enable proximity setting, we should be able to always have a nearby duplicant if I want to toggle something. The priorities in this screen are always going to be superior than the priorities inside the game, so even if I set this tile to priority 9, if my researcher has some research to do, they are going to do the research first before building that tile. However, for Niesbet, building is already at the highest priority, and for her it's going to make a difference which block she's going to build first depending on the in-game priority and not the priorities inside the priority screen. One thing I temporarily changed in the schedule is only set it to 2 bedtime slots because we have enough time to actually reach the bed and do the entirety of the sleep within that time. Once we expand from the core a little bit more, I'm gonna re-enable that slot. To wrap up the episode, I would like to finish my initial rooms here, as well as getting started with the first research. If we manage to do that, I'm already pretty happy. Oh, and as it so happens, we can now choose our first blueprint to print. Let's have a look at what we want. We have 2 interesting duplicants, but they both come with something I dislike very much for my worker force. The flatulence trait, just creating natural gas inside my base. I don't like that. I will not necessarily be avoiding that for my hotel duplicants, because a 5-star hotel also needs to be able to get rid of natural gas. But then Quinn comes with decreased athletics, and that is just absolutely horrible. So I think this time around, we're just going for the algae. That is going to be the most useful to us. Nisbet is already making her way down with the ladderless shaft. I want to avoid digging up the bog bucket if they're still growing. Actually, this was a different plant, so we can go through here at least. Maybe as a side note, I also have enabled a whole bunch of mods, nothing that changes the gameplay dramatically. I guess the biggest mod that changes the gameplay is a chained deconstruction, so I can deconstruct all adjacent buildings of the same type in one go, and that is just because otherwise I'm getting annoyed and frustrated with the game. All of the other mods you can check out in the description, so you know exactly what we're dealing with. Oh, I almost missed it. Now, the water here is dropping down, and I'm gonna take that opportunity to start mopping it up. There's too much liquid to technically mop it up. If I catch it in the nick of time, I should be able to do it. Yes, I think I can do it. I just need to be quick enough to start mopping things up here. Come on, Amari, make me proud. Yeah. Okay. I finally managed to do it. That means we can dump it into our existing liquid pool, and now all I need is someone to actually use the manual generator, which falls under the operating category. I would say Gene doesn't have anything to do if there is no power, so I'm gonna bump operating up a little bit, and then they should be taking care of that. Gene, come on, do something else. Yeah, going up and going to the manual generator. They're just gonna fill up the battery once, and now we can get started with the research. The first thing I would like to research, obviously, is in the food category. So I usually just go for that, the capability of setting up a mess hall and some farm tasks. There are also certain resources I would like to track. For instance, now that we're doing research, we will be using dirt. Dirt is something we don't have a lot of on this planetoid. We're also using the dirt for our outhouses, and then water. Well, we have a visual indicator of how much water we still have. Not a lot. Obviously, there are going to be means of producing water through the mud, and we'll be taking care of that when the time comes. I think I'm just going to set up a bottle emptier here to dump the water that I'm collecting at the bottom, and maybe in the future over here a little bit. Right now, I just want to see these two rooms finished and the floor mopped up. Gene, in the meantime, is doing the first research, so that project has started. Observing Amari, he actually made it into bed in time. Let me see, was that all the stamina you needed? No, he only slept to 65%. He came from down below, and that was already not enough time, so I think I need to go back to the 3 sleep time slots, and then I'm also gonna give them 3 downtime slots, so they definitely have enough time to take care of their needs. One thing I want to mention here, we are not in a hurry. You shouldn't stress out with getting new duplicates or setting up everything in a timely manner. It's better to take yourself the time, think about the next steps, and just make sure that you have everything under control before inviting too many new duplicates. There's my bottle emptier. I'm gonna choose water as a liquid, so every bottle of water we're getting will be dumped back into here. Hopefully without germs. There shouldn't be any germs just yet. Well, technically there are some germs here with the polluted water bottle, so we need to make sure to not contaminate other polluted water with it. And there's already our first research completed, the basic farming. We gain access to the algae terrarium, not very useful without algae. We can now build our own ration box and a planter box, but we'll probably go with the farm task that we research in a moment. There is the last outhouse. We're gonna set this to priority 7 and disable disinfect. Don't forget about that. And with that out of the way, we're gonna wrap up the first episode. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave your support on this episode. This is very important to get it out and to make it successful enough for me to be able to dedicate some time into this project. Thank you so much for watching. You're the best. Have a great time, and hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye bye.